instead of open when we see it red. Was that me or was it something you just said? No, I don't seem to see the sign. I keep looking and I really do try. Are they all over my head or just in my mind? I don't seem to see the sign. I keep looking and I really do try. Are they all over my head or just in my mind?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And what'd you think of that song? Imperial State Electric. What'd you think of the song?
If I heard
Lisa,
it, I
did you
would
fall
comment.
asleep?
I'm here.
No, so the song put you to sleep?
I didn't even hear the song.
Oh, you didn't hear the song? How am I going to get opinion
No.
if you didn't hear it? What?
Well, talk about opinions. You
I
know,
know.
we can play another song later, but one thing we forgot to mention.
Couple of things.
Guess who became a Republican presidential candidate last week?
A lot of people have,
Well, but
but
there's only one Donald.
Donald Trump.
That's right.
And a lot of people like him.
Well, you know, he's such a fool. He says, you know, he's number 2 behind Jeb Bush. And that's primarily because of the name recognition. Everybody knows Jeb Bush because they know the Bush name. Everybody knows Donald Trump. First of all, he puts his name on everything that he builds.
Yep.
But he made a couple of stupid statements about Mexicans and the USA Beauty pageant, the Miss Universe pageant, said that they were ending their Univision. They said they were ending their affiliation with him, you know, because of what he said about Mexicans. Channel 4, NBC, said that they are no longer going to have The Apprentice show on NBC. They claim primarily because of what he said about Mexicans, but I wonder if they can have the show on anyway because he's now a presidential candidate, and that gives him exposure. It gives him free airtime. So for whatever reason, you know, he lost that. And if there's one thing that Donald Trump doesn't want to lose, he doesn't want to lose in the pocketbook. Yes, I know he has quite a few $1 billion. He lets you know that all the time. But, you know, they don't want to lose money either. Billionaires.
Well, from what I understand, he owns the Miss Universe, the rights to Miss Universe pageant and Miss America pageant.
Well, he could own the rights to it, but if he can't get a venue,
I'm saying NBC said they will not broadcast it.
right? But if he can't get a venue, what good is it owning it if you can't get it,
Exactly.
you know, out to the public?
So what they were saying is they were wondering what was going to happen to the Miss Universe and Miss America pageants. You know, will they even exist?
I think we're boring Elisa. I think she's tired. I just heard her yawn.
I don't.
No. I was actually holding back on a cough. I've been coughing the past day or two. I guess my allergies.
I think we all been coughing.
Well,
And when I cough, it hurts. You know, it still hurts in
hurts
like my stomach area, especially where the wounds are.
yeah, sure. So what do you think?
So I don't like to cough.
Also, so what do you think of Trump's decisions to run? Any ideas? Any feelings?
I don't know. At first I found it amusing, but then again, I remember his father. Okay, his father was very powerful. His father actually owned the building that my mother lives in, and he was very political. And I've always known Donald to be kind of political. I mean, he's always thrown this, thought out to everybody, and now that he's finally doing it, I mean, yeah, I think he's a good runner. Do I think he's gonna excel and make it through? I don't see it. Yeah. I think he's gonna fall. I'd say within the next 6 months to a year, you're not going to see him anymore running.
I think one of the comedians said something about a Donald Trump and Ted Cruz ticket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but who's the VP?
Well, maybe he'll get Michelle Bachmann to run with him, or Sarah Palin.
No, he said Oprah.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I heard it. I don't know who said it.
Hey, listen, if that was the case, between Trump and Oprah, we'd have the richest president-vice president combination, even more so than the Kennedys.
Yeah.
John only had a certain amount of, a couple of $100 million. That was about it, really. He never hit $1 billion. But the Donald is a billionaire, and I think Oprah, I think, just slipped. She lost some money last year, and she slipped from the list of billionaires.
Really?
But, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
My condolences.
Or maybe we'll get a Donald Trump and Bill Cosby ticket. Wouldn't that be interesting?
No. Nah. Not even funny. That's
one of the news people who interviewed Trump, I think it was Jake Tapper on CNN. He asked him about the ruling on same-sex marriage, and Trump said that, well, in his opinion, marriage is between a man and a woman. Jake Tapper actually said, well, what kind of expert are you? You've been married at least 3 times.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting. I mean, look, the guy has an opinion about everything. He's not afraid to let you know. He's not afraid to play the part of the bully, because he does that often enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the money to be in it for the long haul. Could he play spoiler? Well, he might be able to play kingmaker. Stay in it as long as possible and then throw his support behind a certain person, not knowing who it would be at this point. Okay?
I wouldn't care.
I really don't care.
I just think he just brings a little bit of spark into the Republicans.
Well, he does. He brings a little bit of Hollywood, into the race. But I'll tell you one thing, which many of the Republican candidates and even those who are not candidates have said: if the Republicans don't come to some positive accord about immigration, okay, they will forever be doomed never to occupy the White House ever again. Because the growing number of voters in this country are Hispanic and Latino. And with the exception of very few, I can't see the majority of them voting for a Republican, because I don't see a Republican offering them anything. I don't know. What do you think, Elisa?
Well, look, Elisa.
I think that I definitely don't see a Republican. At first, if you would have asked me this question maybe about a year ago, I would have definitely said to you, it's going to be a Republican the next few years, because of what we've seen with, a Democrat now. However, now with everything changing and revolving, I think now the Democrats are strong, are much stronger, and will stay and run the country. I mean, maybe when Samantha is an adult, maybe you'll see a Republican at that point. But nah, this is Democrat. I mean, we've come so far. I mean, Republicans don't think the way the changes are now. I mean, they're all about one thing and one thing only. They're not really so much for the people and for the benefit of the middle class, let's say. And
they've never been in favor of the middle class.
What?
They've never been in favor or done anything for the middle class.
Exactly. That's my point. I mean, let's face it. There are people out there suffering so because of jobs. I mean, I know so many people that lost their jobs and are working 2 or 3 jobs, like in stores, or like they're not in offices anymore. They're not making $50,000 to $100,000 anymore. I'm seeing friends that have lost their homes because they just can't make ends meet. And then I also have friends that can't afford insurance. Republicans don't give a shit about that.
That's true. What do you think, Felix?
But
Go ahead, but
no, I was just gonna. I just lost my train of thought. Not that you cut me off, Mark. No, don't think that. It's just I just had a thought in my head and I lost it.
well,
Go ahead, Felix.
I think a lot of Republicans will disagree with you. I'm not agreeing with them or anything, but they say that they're for the middle class. They're Reagan Republicans, and there were a lot of Reagan Democrats, and they point to him as that he did a lot of good for the country.
Yeah, but the Reagan Democrats are not the Republicans of today. All right, they have gone so far to the right that Reagan Republicans now are more moderate. They're more like Jeb Bush. Okay.
That's fine. So Jeb Bush is ahead, and he's running, and he's got a chance of winning the Republican nomination.
There's only one way I see a Republican becoming president, and that's if you have a third-party candidate who's going to split the Democratic Party. All right. Now, I'm not saying Bernie Sanders is that person, but, if you remember Ross Perot back in 1992 split the conservative vote between George H.W. Bush and himself, and that allowed Clinton to become president. Okay, that's what many people believed. You get a solid third-party candidate who people can identify with, okay, and people are not going to feel embarrassed by voting for that person and feel that their vote is a wasted vote because that person does not stand a chance at being elected. And what that's going to do is that will allow the Republicans to come into power. In fact, you don't even have to go back to 1992. Back in 2000, when George W. Bush was running, okay, against Al Gore, you had Ralph Nader as a third-party candidate. Ralph Nader being an extreme progressive and